Yes, we have sound now. Wow, I apologize, folks. I just kind of got home this morning from work, and I was my family and stuff has been here when I've been setting this up, so I apologize for that, but I think we are good to go now. All right, and I thought about restarting it, but if I do restart, then I think it will kind of scrub the whole thing. I don't know, so we're just going to go with it. And maybe I can come back and cut a little bit out of the beginning. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to this is the reply line, blah, blah, blah. If you guys haven't been here, I'm answering your comments and questions that I receive from you folks through emails, maybe Instagram messaging or Facebook Messenger, or mainly from the comments that I get on YouTube videos. So, thank you all for whoever does ask questions. Thank you all so much. So today, kind of what we're going to go through, first I'm going to start with a few funny or interesting comments that I get, because I do get those from time to time, and while some of them are negative, some of them are interesting, I still enjoy getting the comments nevertheless. It still puts a smile on my face, no matter how negative they are, 99% of the time. All right, and then we're going to go through and answer the questions and comments. I have a few saved here that I think are good ones that will provide value for you folks. Then we're going to go and take questions from our live audience. So welcome, live audience. We have a lot of folks here that I am remembering. I'm growing to get to know these people, so thank you all. Some of them I already knew. But what's up, Bob McElroy, Ken Delaney, King Rex, Wayne Cousins, Kayak Adventures, and there's just so many awesome people here. C. Griggs, just thank y'all for being here today and tuning into the reply line. All right, so first thing, funny, interesting / negative comments. The first one is from The Game of Hearts. He says, dude looks like he spends as much time at the gym as he does fishing. Trip Smith, do you have a YouTube channel for workouts? No, I don't have a YouTube channel for workouts, and apparently he may not watch as many of my videos because I don't spend much time fishing, but I do spend some time in the gym and in the kitchen eating right. So I just thought that was kind of funny because apparently I put off the vibe that I do a lot of fishing. Because I think I might put off the vibe that I exercise a lot too, which is slightly true. So thanks for the great comment there. Next one is from Old Dead Ears. Old Dead Ears says, did you borrow those sandals from your wife? You guys, I get so many of those comments about my Earthrunner sandals, which are not in here with me today, but I just get so many comments about those being girl shoes, which is cool with me. So that's all right. That's all right. Yep, hater comments equal sarcasm training. You're right, Bob. You're right, Bob. And it's unfortunate that people don't have anything to say, or they're having such a bad day that they feel like they should say something negative. So really, when I see a negative comment, I just think to myself, you know what? I hope the person has a better day and can get a little happier, because a lot of times that's a reflection of how they feel, right? All right, let's see here. Jonathan Toper, I'm glad you enjoyed the videos. He says, I enjoy your videos, makes me want to get out and kayak camp. That's awesome, Jonathan. I'm so glad that you enjoy that you enjoy the videos. I enjoy making them, and I appreciate you watching them. All right, so our first official question this morning is from Ninja Everyday. Ninja Everyday, he says, hey friend, what's up, buddy? He says, still liking the Blackfin inflatable SUP, question mark. Is it still holding up, like no leaks or issues? Would it still be your recommendation for an inflatable SUP? Yes, it would still be my recommendation for an inflatable SUP. Am I still liking it? Absolutely, I'm still liking it. I'm loving it. I wish I had one of the newer models because they have some cool features that I don't have on mine. And is it still holding up? No leaks or issues? Yes, it is holding up fine, wonderfully. I have never had any leaks on any of my inflatable paddleboards, and that goes from, I think my cheapest one might be a $500 paddleboard. My most expensive one's like around $1,400 paddleboard. Never had any leaks, and I have some, slight damage on some of them, and some of them that you may have think they would leak, and I've even, aired them up, got them to the proper PSI, anywhere between 12 and 15 or 18 PSI, and I have left them inflated, and I have checked the pressure weeks later, and they're still holding air and pretty good bit of pressure. So I'm really, really, really impressed by the inflatable paddleboards. Now, let's see here. Would I still recommend the Blackfin? Well, I've been getting several questions from folks here lately about which inflatable paddleboard they should get. They said, they asked about the Blackfin, and I'm like, yes, if you have if you have the budget, I think the Blackfin is the best thing you can get for the money. But then someone else brought to my attention that iRocker, which is the company who manufactures the Blackfin, they have like 3 different levels of inflatable paddleboards. They have their top tier, which is the Blackfin. Then they go down 1 from that to the iRocker. Then they go down 1 from that to the Nautical series. Now you can get a Nautical inflatable paddleboard for like $350 shipped. This is like a 10 or 11 foot paddleboard. Comes with your bag, your paddle, your pump, all that stuff. And when I saw that, I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And it even has a US fin box, like I talked so much about, and it even has a good pump. I mean, it even has, what was the other thing I was going to say? It has handles on the front and back. So you can really get into an inflatable paddleboard for cheap. And there are some differences in the quality of when you, well, I don't know about the quality, but I would say the build design and stuff on how it's made. You're still going to probably get a pretty good board going with the $350 board, but you're going to get a lot more stuff like a better bag, better pump, better paddle, a little bit better build construction where you'll have a little bit stiffer board and more kind of little knickknacks and bells and whistles on the board. But really and truly, I think you would be doing something smart if you got any of the boards from iRocker. Really and truly. And by the way, those people, they don't pay me. I don't make any, they don't pay me for talking about their boards. I just really like their boards and the people over there, so they do some good stuff. All right, and also it's better than getting on Amazon and buying some board that's manufactured and shipped from China. Because if you have an issue with your board, like a warranty issue, or if a part's missing, or if you need a replacement part, like I have had before, it's really tough to get those from a company who you can't contact. Because iRocker, they're located in like Jacksonville, Florida, and you can call them, talk to them, Americans who speak good English and who want to have a good reputation, and they will hook you up, fix you up. All right, next question is from Dave H. Dave says, what brand of slackline do you have? I'm considering getting one to try out. It's a wide one. Wait, is a wide one considered easier to use or harder to learn on? He said, I'm trying some new stuff while the gym's still closed. Well, Dave, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm glad you're trying new stuff with the gyms closed. I have been doing some of the same things, and actually I like kind of how I've been changing up my workouts and stuff. I really have enjoyed it because you kind of get into this rut in the gym and stuff, and you get into that rut, you kind of plateau on your progress, so it's good to switch things up. Anyways, back to the question. So what brand slackline do I have? I have a iFit, or a Fitline, which I just got off of Amazon. I got on there and I was just kind of reading a few reviews, and there's a lot of very similar slacklines out there. I just picked one that was the length that I wanted. I wanted a long one so I could maybe string it across the river. I got a 100-footer, and I got one that is 2 inches wide. And then the next question is a wide one considered easier to use or harder to learn on? Well, I didn't know the answer to this question when he asked it, so I looked it up, and really and truly, they're both about the same. Neither one is easier or harder to learn on. But some of the things that you get into are like the wider one, like if you're doing tricks on it, like bouncing on it, like some people lay on their back or do flips and land on their stomach and stuff. The wider one is better for that. But looking back on it, I probably would have gotten a little narrower one so that it would store better on my paddleboard, because it would have had a smaller ratchet, probably taken up less room and been lighter. So, but whatever. I mean, you can get whatever size you want. Doesn't make much of a difference. Have fun on the slackline, Dave. All right, let's see. Next question is from Daniel Ford. Daniel asks, he says, Tripp, I trust your opinion and need advice. Daniel, I appreciate you trusting my opinion, and I'm happy to give you some advice. He said, I'm 6'10", looking at the Blackfin XL and the V, and can't decide. I have a 1 and 3-year-old that my wife, who's also tall, love to bring with us on adventures. I can't find many reviews on the V compared to the XL. Do you have any advice on which one is better for recreational paddling and family day trips? I'm not a hardcore paddler looking to go for days. Thoughts on the V versus the XL? Thanks in advance. Daniel, you're welcome. We've already had this conversation. It was kind of an ongoing conversation. I helped him decide which one was best for him. So basically, all right, the difference between the Blackfin V and the Blackfin XL is the length and width. The XL is a little bit shorter and a little bit wider, while the V is a little bit longer, sleeker, and narrower. So, all right, Daniel being a larger guy, he has more. He's more top heavy, right? 6'10". I'm not 6'10", and we're close to 6'10". So I suggested to him, I said, okay, for just regular recreational paddling, you don't really need the advantages that the longer, sleeker board give you, which is, it just moves faster through the water, easier to paddle, has a higher cruising speed, so to speak, because there's less drag, right? And I've told him that you're probably better off getting the wider board, the XL, because that's going to give you more stability, and you're just going to probably have a better time with kids on that board, especially if you get into like waves and stuff. It kind of makes a difference, because I've been on even narrower boards than the V, and you can really tell the difference. All right. So yeah, those are my the basis of my suggestions to him. But then I also said, hey, take a look at the iRocker board and the nautical board. And he said, well, what's the difference in those, and what differences should I consider about those? And I said, well, the main thing you probably want to think about is, since you're 6'10", I don't know how heavy he is, but that's a lot of weight where he's standing on the paddleboard. Now, one thing that the Blackfin has is it has a carbon rail, which is basically an extra layer of material going down the sides of the board, which is supposed to make the board more rigid when it's inflated. So I said, if you can swing the Blackfin, you're probably going to be a little happier because it has the extra accessories, but it has that extra carbon rail, which should keep it a little stiffer in the water when you're standing on it. So there you go. That was my advice to Daniel, and I hope that helped you out, Daniel, and I hope you and your wife are going to be enjoying some paddleboards with the kids soon. All right, next question is from someone called Not Trying to Argue, But. That's his name. So he says, all right, and he's commenting on the video that I did about carrying firearms in a kayak. He says, has anyone ever had any kind of trouble while kayaking where they wish they had a gun? I feel like the idea of self-defense becomes this thing where when you get into it, it makes you feel like you need it all the more than you ever do. Better not to need it. Yeah, I get that, but everyone into carrying I've seen get to the point they almost feel like they can't go anywhere without it, and that's not healthy. Now, this is just an interesting comment. Now, I would have to agree on the point that it seems like a lot of people who carry feel like they can't go anywhere without it. There are some people like that, and I think that you can go places without carrying a firearm with you, especially when you're out kayaking and stuff, because I don't really carry anymore when I go paddling. One of the reasons is because, if I ever needed the weapon, usually I have it hidden or, secured somewhere dry, in a little dry bag, then in a Ziploc bag, somewhere where it's not being exposed to the elements. So I figure, okay, by the time that I really need this weapon, I'm not going to be able to get to it. Because I've kind of imagined some scenarios, or I've kind of been in something where I thought, okay, what if I needed a gun if this didn't go the way I wanted it to, and I would not have been able to get to that gun in time. All right. So now, has anyone ever had trouble while kayaking while they were and wish they had a gun? Now, I did a little bit of research yesterday, and I didn't really find anything on this. I did find where a husband and wife were out paddling together, and the wife sabotaged the husband's kayak and his paddle and things, and he drowned. All right, and she was put in jail for it. Then she was later released. Interesting stuff. You guys can look up the kayak killer or the kayak murder or the kayaker murder. it's kind of an interesting read. But basically, she took the drain plug out of his kayak. Sorry to laugh. Shouldn't do that. And she did something with his paddle too. Took a ring out of his paddle or something or another, and his kayak sunk and he died. All right, which is a horrible thing. But so I don't know of any instances specifically about kayakers where they needed a weapon, but there are instances where hikers or just campers or just regular people needed a weapon, and so it can be a good thing to have. And I think it is a freedom that we all should have and should try to keep, right? But I choose not to carry basically because I think if I get in a situation, I can hopefully get out of it without having to worry about a gun. I don't know. I mean, granted, I do. I am a carrier, but I just don't need it all the time. I don't know. That's totally up to you. All right. So Chris Hansen, he says, questions for Rocca Dock. If we can't make the whole event, maybe just a day or two, can we still come if we've got tickets? He said, I just want to be part of it. Chris, absolutely, you can come, even if your tickets that you buy, they cover you for the whole event. If you want to come for 1 day, for 2 days, for 3 days, or just for 4 days, because it's a total of 5-day event, you can come and go as much as you please, and you can still be a part of all the things like the meals that we provide, and the raffle and all the giveaways or the contests and stuff that we do. You can still be part of that, absolutely. And I really hope you get to come, Chris, because it's truly a great time. Totally looking forward to it. All right, folks, I totally love getting your comments and questions, like I said earlier. And so, hey, I encourage you guys to leave them on a YouTube video or whatever. Send me a message because I do enjoy chatting about this stuff. All right, so, and if you guys are watching the replay, and hey, maybe you should remember to go ahead and set your notifications, right? Click that bell icon so that you will be notified next time I go live for the reply line, so you don't miss it, so you can get on here and chit chat with all these awesome folks who are in the chat, right? All right, so here we go. Let's go into the live comments and see what people are saying and what kind of questions. Let's see. Well, let's see what we're doing. You know what? I need a way. Folks, if you're going to ask a question, here, this is just a little friendly tip. How about put a question mark at the beginning of your comment? There's a little tip that might help me out a little bit so I don't have to read through these comments and give you all kind of a little lull here. Here, King Rex said he actually just got an iRocker 11 in the mail. Congratulations, King Rex. How cool. All right, Chuck Smith. He says, hey, Trip from Florida. What's up, Chuck? What's going on with the skiff? Well, she's currently resting in the barn in my shop out there, and I was planning on taking her out today to go camping and stuff, but that got nixed because of the weather and things like that, which is unfortunate. It's just been a little too cool, a little too windy to really enjoy things. So I was going to take my oldest with me, and we were going to do an overnight trip and film it all. And it was going to be really, really fun. I was looking forward to it. But other than that, there's not much going on with the skiff. I still have a few small things to do, like put some corrosion protection on my connectors and basically secure my bilge pump down to the bottom, and I'm pretty much done with it, other than a few little camera mounts and stuff that I need to do. But other than that, not much is going on with the skiff. I have a lot planned to do with it, and I have time planned to do it. I'm just ready for that time to get here so I can make it happen. All right, let's see here. Matt Cleland, what's up, Matt? He says, when it comes to cleaning your gear after paddling in salt water, do you use a detergent and scrub, or do you have any other special post-adventure cleaning routines to keep down the wear and tear? Love this question. This is something I actually thought about addressing here recently, but here we go. Let's go with it. Basically, all right, post-adventure, if I go to salt water, I have a lot of cleanup, right? I will, for the skiff, I wash it every single time, even after I use it in fresh water. Crazy, I know, right? But I wash it good, and if I'm using it in salt water, I will run the motor with some earmuffs on it to run some fresh water through it, and I will really try to clean the trailer good, and I will use a special boat soap, which you should use on a boat, so it doesn't strip any waxes and things off of the surfaces, and I will just soap down the whole thing. If I got water into the compartments and stuff, I will spray all those out, try to clean everything really, really well. Then gear-wise, If I'm on a paddleboard, I do the same thing to a paddleboard. I will clean it really good and scrub it after I use it in salt water. Sometimes in fresh water, I may not rinse it every single time, but most of the time I do. Depends on how dirty it got. And like the next thing that gets dirty usually is my dry bags and my PFD and my goggles and my fins and my hat. What else? Maybe my stakes for my tarp, things like that. I will wash that stuff. Usually I'll take all that stuff and I will fill a 5-gallon bucket with some Dawn soap or just anything, just whatever detergent, and I'll just douse, soak all that stuff in it, put it in there and agitate it, take it out, rinse it off, let it dry, and that is my typical cleanup when I get home. There's not much more other than that, and I find that keeps my gear in pretty good shape. All right, here we go. Ken Delaney asked a question. He says, Trip, I'm sure you have covered this at some point, but do you have any military background? My wife and I were talking about it and wondered. You fit the bill in attitude and professionalism. Well, Ken, thank you for that. I take that as a compliment, but no, I do not have any military background. I had a strong desire to join the military, but I did not do that. I always wanted to be a sniper and a Navy SEAL sniper. And when I had a couple years of high school left, and my eyesight started to go just a little bit. I could tell that when I was hunting, and my eyesight started to go, and I said, you know what, hey, if I can't go and be the best sniper and be the best that I can be, I'm not going to go. I'm going to choose a different avenue. So I did. Sometimes I do regret that decision, but for the most part, but of course I'm extremely happy with the decisions that I made, but sometimes I wish I could have done that because it would have been a heck of an adventure, and I think I could have really done some good for our country and protecting our freedoms, because I just would have. All right. Yeah, I would have handled business. All right, here we go. Next comment. This is from Kayak Adventures. He says, I love my XL. He's 6'1" and 235 pounds. He's talking about his Blackfin XL. He carries a cooler and 2 kids, both 9 and 12, with no issues. They even dive off the front and back as we're floating. Absolutely. Yes, that is so awesome to hear. And one good thing about an inflatable kayak is using it with kids, because although they are pretty hard, they're still soft and forgiving, and kids can crawl all over them comfortably and jump off of them, climb back on them easily. It is fantastic. I love inflatables with kids. All right, Blake Hurst, Rocca Dock, buddy. Yeah, fancy with the bell icon, Keith. All right, let's see here. Here is Jonathan Toper. Thank you for starting your question with a question mark. Fantastic. He says, have you ever used a creek cooler while kayaking? I don't know if I have. Am I thinking a creek cooler is what you are talking about? Tell you what, let's all go together and we will look up what a creek cooler is with this cool little fancy program I have. Did he spell it? How did he spell that? Oop, it's not typing. Oh no. Creek cooler? Oh, okay, yep, that's what I thought it was. Boom. Yeah, that right there. Let's go to our images. We'll get a decent one of this creek cooler. So that right there is your creek cooler. Have I ever used a creek cooler? No, I have not. $125 for a creek cooler. That won't go here. Boom. That's still not very good. No, I have not ever used one. And I will tell you why. Of course, yes, I certainly have seen them, and I have had some questions about these in the past. And I don't know if they're the best idea. Typically, all right, that's $125. All right, now what could you do? All right, let's say you sold your kayak and you spent $125 more on a kayak. You could probably get a kayak that was a little bigger, that had the capacity to haul whatever you're hauling in that creek cooler. And so why would I say do that? Well, because, all right, let's say you're towing that behind you on a rope, and you're going down a river or a creek, and your rope gets tied around something. Or, it's just would be difficult to manage, and it's just something else to haul, something else to fool with. I like things to be simple and all contained to one vessel. I've never pulled a trailer on a boat, but I could imagine it would be tricky, right? So no, I have not carried that, and I wouldn't suggest it. All right, and because really you could probably, if you didn't want to just go out and buy a bigger kayak, you could probably reduce the things that you're carrying and spend $125 on getting a better sleeping bag, which is something that oftentimes takes up a lot of room that people could invest a little bit more money in and get something really compact, or a better tent that compacts down better, or I would try to improve your gear to carry less weight in general, because weight it's not fun. No matter how much room you have, weight can be a negative thing on your trips. So great question, Jonathan. All right, next question is from David Tadlock. He says, have you ever had any sketchy encounter with gators? No, David, I've not had any sketchy encounter with gators. I have seen some gators. Most of the time, whenever I do see them, they disappear faster than I can get a glimpse of them, or certainly faster than I can get a shot of them. But typically, I can get close to smaller ones sometimes. I guess they're just not as scared of people, and I have gotten close to some and gotten them on camera, and I love that because that's something you don't get to do often, because gators are so scared and skittish of people in the areas that I paddle generally. But granted, there are some places where the gators are used to people more so, and there's more gators, and so you can get closer to them. But where I paddle, no, I've never had any sketchy encounters with them at all. I'm usually trying to get close to them, so they think they have sketchy encounters with me, probably. All right, let's see here. Apart from coolers, are there any seats that can be used with a SUP? Kayak Adventures asks. Yes, there are. How about we go check one out? I will show it to you. We're going to look up the Larry chair. Oh, that's not an L trip. The Larry chair. Right here. This is going to be your Larry chair, and I have used one of these. I wonder if you see a picture of mine on it, but this is basically the setup I had with it sitting on the Kaku Kahuna. Pretty good. Why did we open that? And look there, you can even, wow, that is pretty cool. I'm going to get a few photos for you folks. All right. That didn't work very well, did it? I thought I was doing something good. There we go. This is a good shot of a Larry chair with some accessories on it. Yeah, you can take this thing and strap it down to most any paddleboard. And some of them you don't really even have to strap it down to, but they work really well and they get pretty compact. Pretty nice. That's it folded up, even with all the gear stuff on it. That is pretty cool. I haven't seen that attachment there. So you have that. Then you also have this, which just shows how it gets compact and folds up into there. So it works pretty well. Actually, one of my buddies, Vance, if you guys remember Vance Parker, who's been on a few of my videos and adventures with me, he just recently bought a Kaku Kahuna, which is which is a hard paddleboard that I used to have, and he was thinking about a chair for it, and I suggested the Larry chair, but I suggested to him to, hey, look around and see if you can find some other nice stadium seat, or some sort of beach chair that has armrests and things on it, and that would be really comfortable. Or even better than that is if you can find like a Hobie seat or some other kayak seat that you can use to put on there, because a lot of times you can get on Facebook Marketplace or someplace, and people will be selling their seat because they upgraded to another one. You can get them for pretty cheap, and they're really, really cool. Like the Hobies, they have lumbar support. You can take them off and set them by the campfire really good. They have a pocket behind on the back of them. They're really, really pretty cool. But me personally, I like just actually nothing to sit on, because I just like a nice bare board. But if I were going to bring something, I would just use my Engel 19 quart dry box cooler and sit on that. But hey, if you want chairs, they're out there, so you can get comfortable for sure. All right, let's see here. Next question is from, is that Leanne Susky? She says, where do you source your paddles, composite or not? Leanne, I get my paddles from a few different places. Let's see here. The paddle that I have purchased, I got from Academy a few years ago, and it's my river paddle. I talked about it a few reply lines ago, maybe in episode 6 possibly. and I bought about an $80 paddle. It was a fantastic paddle. It was, I guess it was a composite. It wasn't a plastic or nylon blade. It was a composite blade that's really stiff, because the plastic blades or the nylon blades, you can actually bend and flex those. But is there a specific place where I would suggest getting paddles? Not really. I would just, find, if you want to buy one locally, you can do that, or you can get on Amazon and just find one that's a cool color that you like, cool design. And if you just, if you spend, about $80, $70 on one, you're going to get a lot better paddle than your $35, $40 paddle. So your investment is going to, get a lot more bang for your buck when you spend that a little bit, $70, right? Because the quality of the paddle just goes up so much. So get one that you think's pretty, purchase that paddle. You're probably going to enjoy it. Granted, they do have like $170, even $300 paddles. I have a $170 paddle, and it's fantastic. It's beautiful. But is it that much? Is it almost 3 times better than the $70 paddle, or is it almost twice as good as the $70 paddle? Probably not. But is that $70 paddle twice as good as the $35 paddle? Yes, it is. So you get a better bang for your buck purchasing about a $75 or $100 paddle. But you can spend as much as you want. But I would suggest at least spending about $70. All right, let's see here. Ken Delaney, he said, tested Murphy's balm last night on no-see-ums. They were flying around, but I didn't get a bite. Awesome. We were talking about that in a reply line a couple episodes ago. That's awesome to hear, Ken. Now we know. Appreciate you doing that and sharing that with us. And Blake Hurst said, and the balm smells good too. You dang right it does. Here it is right here. Boom. Smells awesome. Love that stuff. All right. Let's see here. Ken Delaney said, you would have been a great sniper, no doubt. Well, I appreciate that, Ken. I still own like 3 ghillie suits. Let's see here. Next question. I might have missed a few. Wayne says, the way that I pronounce some names on here, it's hilarious. Well, I'm glad you're getting a good laugh out of it, Wayne. I get a good laugh too. All right, let's see here. Here we go. Here's from Pia Ann. Or is that Pia Ann? I believe it's Pia Ann. Pia says, I hope that's right. I just bought myself the Blackfin V. Sweet, that's the one I want. I live on a lake in Nashville. I can't wait to paddle to camp on the little islands. I enjoy your videos. They're pretty informative. Has your wife ever gone on solo trips? My wife, has she ever gone by herself? Oh, absolutely not. No, she has gone with me one time before. We went down to some spoil islands that I had previously camped on in Fort Walton, in the sound or the bay there, and we had 2 kayaks. I took her out. I actually was trying to film this adventure, and I realized a couple hours into it, filming wasn't going to happen. It was hard for me to get all the right shots, to tell the right story when I was assisting her. But overall, we enjoyed the trip. But on the ride home, I was talking to her about it, and she was like, "Well, it just wasn't like sandals like I thought it was going to be." And I'm thinking, oh, you're right, babe. It's not quite like sandals. But overall, we enjoyed it. She hasn't been back on like a rural trip like that, camping trip, but we have gone camping a few times, or one time after that in a hammock in a park, and on our little camper that we used to have. But we are planning some more, and she's probably going to be toughening up and going out as my boys get older, and we're probably going to do some family camping trips. So there we go. Let's see here. You like us? David Tadlock says the creek cooler would be good tubing down the river, drink a beer. That's about it. Yep, probably right. Oh, yes, and I do believe someone had one at Rocca Dock last year, Bob. All right, let's see here. Wayne Cousins, he says, do some paddleboards come with kayak seats? Good questions. Yes, Wayne, some of them do. I believe actually probably most of your inflatable paddleboard and maybe hard paddleboard manufacturers are going to sell a kayak seat with their paddleboard. Now, what does that kayak seat consist of? It's basically, if you guys are kind of familiar with kayaks, which you probably are, it's basically just the little padded bottom and padded back that you kind of, strap into your kayak that kind of molds to the kayak. It's, not really, doesn't have any structure to it. They do sell those, and some of them come with them that you can put on your paddleboard, but you're literally, you're sitting flat on the bottom of the kayak or whatever on the deck of the kayak, and that's probably not going to be very comfortable for very long. So I wouldn't suggest those seats. You're better off investing in the Larry chair, or I would first suggest a cooler. Just try that and see if you like it. But the seats that come with Wayne aren't very, I'm not a big fan of them. All right, let's see. Cool idea for your trip, says David Tadlock. The Wasissa River to the Slave Canal that will connect you to the Osceola River. Crystal clear water with a couple of springs to check it out. Really, I didn't know there was springs right there at that Slave Canal. I am familiar with that, though. Never been there. He said it's in the Panhandle, too. Not too far from me. Yeah, I need to check that out. There's so many things on my list that I want to do. I just don't have the time. But one day. Oh, great. I got the name right, Pia. Fantastic. I appreciate that. And Wayne's laughing. All right. Next question is from Tom Griffin. He says, how many guitars do you have? And what is my favorite? How many guitars do I have? Well, I have this one here. This is my Alvarez acoustic. That's probably my most played guitar. Because I got that one when I graduated high school, and I've played the fire out of that thing. Used to play it a lot more than I do now, but probably my favorite guitar, it's probably going to be this one here. Let me show it to you guys. This is a Fender Telecaster. Some folks might recognize this. If you do recognize it, then you're officially awesome in my book. But this thing is like wrapped in leather. This is real leather. And one of my favorite country music artists had his guitars wrapped in leather just like this. And actually, my mom had this made for me. This guitar was wrapped by the same people who wrapped his guitar. That person is Waylon Jennings. So I'm really happy to have this guitar. This is a pretty sweet, this is, if you guys know old country music artists, you know this is pretty cool. But I love that guitar. But so I have these two. I have my small camp guitar. I have a Fender Resonator guitar. I have a what is that? I think that's a Fender Telecaster Clapton. Richard Clapton. What's that? Goodness, I'm going blank. But it's a Sunburst guitar, Eric Clapton edition. And then I also have a BFG, which is pretty sweet. It's just like a bear guitar. Looks like alligator skin on it. Pretty cool. I believe those are all the guitars. Also, I have a mandolin that I can play a little bit. I used to play it a little more. And I have an old Yamaha guitar. That was my very first guitar whenever I was like 12 years old. And I think those are all my guitars. But I wish I played them more than I do. I used to play a lot more than I do, and I was a lot better. Tom Griffin says, how do you keep them dry? I keep my guitars dry, or my travel guitar dry, by putting it in a duct tape dry bag that I made 100% out of duct tape and one Night Eyes gear tie. I made it to fit the guitar, and it works pretty well. It keeps it dry. I've had it for several years now, and it's some of the tapes kind of separating or sliding across. You see some of the stickiness, so I need to redo the top because I have it designed where you kind of roll it down and kind of buckle it like a dry bag. It works pretty well, so it's pretty nice. Let's see here. Jeffrey England says, "Hey Trip, hardly ever catch you live." Well, congratulations, Jeffrey. I'm glad you're here, buddy. He said, "I look forward to Rocca Dock this year. Is it still going to happen with the corona going on?" As of right now, Jeffrey, yes, it is going to happen with the corona going on, because the way it's looking, this corona is not exactly what they thought it was. There's a lot of different opinions on it, and I believe by the time Rocca Dock gets here, it's all going to things are going to be more and more back to normal. So yes, as of right now, it's going to be going on. And as for cancellations, the way we have Rocca Dock set up are, you can cancel and get a complete refund of your ticket up to 2 weeks prior to the event. And so, if something happens and we decide that Rocca Dock cannot occur, which would be horrible, then anyone who did register will refund all their money, blah blah blah, and we'll make that decision 2 weeks prior, but I think we're going to be just fine. So, Jeffrey, hope you can make it. I don't recall your name, and I kind of recall a lot of the Rocca Dockers. Although I'm really bad with names, but I do remember a lot of faces and a lot of Rocca Dockers because, man, we had some good times. But, hey, I hope you are able to join us. Wayne says he'll try cooler. Cool. Oh, I'm not taking offense to you laughing at me. Hey, not at all. It's really, really, really hard to offend me. All right, let's see here. Chuck Smith, he says, hey, Trip, I have wanted to come to a Rocca Dock. Do they always have electricity because I have to use a breathing machine when I sleep? Chuck, that is a good question. You have to use your CPAP machine. That shouldn't be an issue at Rocca Dock when we're in Geneva, like we were last year and will be this year, because we're blessed with a lot of outlets throughout the campground. So I think if you came, especially if you got there early in like the first couple days, you shouldn't have an issue finding a campsite or somewhere to camp around an outlet, because there's really a ton of outlets everywhere. It's really, really nice. If you guys remember my video, I said we got benches and outlets. You guys remember that little silly video I did? But yes, there are a lot of outlets, so you should be fine, Chuck, and I hope you can join us. P, I'm glad you like the guitar. Yes, she is sexy for sure. Oh, Keith, you're learning guitar? Fantastic. Yes, the Telly is cool. Yes, yeah, it's a Stratocaster Sue-Ann that I have. That's the BFG. It's a Strat. I like it too. All right, let's see here. Alex Johnson, he says, Trip, thanks for inspiring to start paddling and to get out there. You're welcome, Alex. I'm glad you were inspired, and I'm glad you got out there and had some adventure paddling. Would you consider a video on how to make a duct tape dry bag? I haven't found a good guide yet. You know, when I made that dry bag, I filmed the process. And I was planning on releasing it, but then I got to editing it, and watching the footage, and I was like, you didn't do a good job on that trip. And I have multiple times have thought about making another one. I probably should do that because there's not one on YouTube. There's not a good one. They're kind of janky, if there are any, but most of it's just like how to make other duct tape stuff. So I probably should do that, Alex, and I think I will do that. So yes, I will certainly consider it. I have considered it. Now I'm considering it even more so since you asked the question. So thanks, Alex. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Jeffrey England said this will be my first year. Fantastic, Jeffrey. All right, let's see here. William the Griffin. He says, closest airport if I fly in from Oregon. Man, William, that would be awesome if you fly in from Oregon. I think we have some people from Washington coming in, and probably the closest airport is going to be in Panama City. So it's like the Panama City International Airport. I forget the letters to it. But yes, just, I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes south of the Rocca Dock venue, there is the Panama City Airport, and you can fly into that joker. It's an international airport, so you shouldn't have trouble getting a flight there. So that would be my suggestion. I believe that's where everyone else is flying in. And I don't know about, how you get to and from the airport to Rocca Dock. That's something you would have to set up, or either, if you could, I'm sure you could contact someone like on the Facebook page and say, hey, I'm flying in from Oregon on such and such a date. Would anyone, maybe be nice enough to pick me up, or do you have any suggestions? And I bet the Rocca Dock community might come through for you, and you should be able to find something, because I know we do have several people flying in, so there are ways to make it happen. Of course, they have rental cars and stuff, but let's see. Pirate Life says, Dothan Fire Department, stay safe and healthy. We are actually doing pretty well, Pirate Life. We haven't had anyone come down with a case of corona who has been tested positive, but and we do have made some contact with some patients who have tested positive, and we are doing pretty good on our BSI and our PPE, our personal protective equipment. We're doing pretty good with that stuff, so I think we're going to be okay. From the Turner Valley Fire Department, well, I hope y'all are doing well too. We're just kind of ready for all this nonsense to be over, because all the stuff we have to do for each run and each patient contact, that's extra from what we used to have to do. I'm sure y'all are doing the same nonsense. It's just annoying, and we're ready for it to be over with, because it just makes our job a lot harder. Well, not a lot harder. It just takes more time to do our job. And like one of the worst things, like last night, we pull up on scene, and I jump out of the truck and set the cones out, and we kind of chalk the wheels. and the patient's husband is standing there on the curb, and he's he's a little nervous about his wife. And I say, sir, we'll be around in just a second. You're going to have to give us just a moment. Then about, I don't know, 60 seconds or a minute and a half later is how long it took for our medic to put on his gown, his mask, his goggles, his mask, and his gloves and everything to come back around the truck and see about the patient. So that is one of the negative things that I really hate. When our people are standing there needing help and there's a fire truck sitting right here, but no one's coming to help. So I hope people understand. All right, let's see here. Next comment is from Jeffrey England. He says, I have a group I've been paddling with, and Tyler Roche was at Rocca Dock last year. So our whole group plans on coming this year. Awesome. Yep, I remember Tyler Roche for sure. Definitely remember the name. That's pretty unique. So cool. Jeffrey, I hope you are all able to make it. It's going to be a good time. Just ask Ty. He knows. All right, folks. Come here, Wesson. So, all right, folks. That's about it for today. I hope my little boy was actually going to come in here and then he just ran. So, folks, thank y'all for being here. I really enjoyed it. I don't know how long we have been rolling, but we have been rolling and having a good time. There it is. Hour and 30 minutes? No way. All right, folks. See ya. Take care of yourselves. God bless. And get out there. See y'all in the next one. Now, how do I end this one? Stop streaming.